Hello and welcome to the review lesson for Pythagorean theorem. We have several objectives today all connected to Pythagorean theorem. We are first going to just review and practice solving for the missing side of a triangle using Pythagorean theorem. We then will apply Pythagorean theorem to solve real-world problems as well as applying it to solve with three-dimensional shapes. So please take 30 seconds to write down anything you remember on the blank half of your paper, anything you remember about Pythagorean theorem. All right, welcome back. I hope that at this point you have some things on your paper, some things that you should remember about Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem only applies when you have a triangle, and that triangle must contain a right angle. When we have this right triangle, we also have to label the sides of the right triangle. With Pythagorean theorem, we have two legs and one hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle and is labeled side C. The two legs are always labeled A and B. Our formula when we solve Pythagorean theorem problems is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Please make sure that if you did not write these things down on your paper that you write this down now. All right, so let's go ahead and take a moment here to review and make sure we remember how to use the Pythagorean theorem formula. I know that we just reviewed the formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so I'm going to write that down and make sure that we remember that along the way. In the first problem, number 1, I see the right angle is on the top, but I remember that the side across from that is always side C and the other two are A and B. It does not matter which direction or which side is labeled A and B as long as side C is correct. So for my formula, A is 5, so I'm going to write 5 squared. B is also 5, so I'm going to have plus 5 squared equals c squared. 5 squared is 25, so I have 25 plus 25 equals c squared. 25 plus 25 is 50. And to get rid of or eliminate the squared on the c, I need to find the square root to find my answer. So the square root of 50 in the calculator says 7.07106 and so on. We are going to practice rounding to the nearest hundredth. So my answer will be 7.07 centimeters. For number 2, my right angle is on the bottom left-hand corner, but I know that across from that is side C, so I am again missing the letter C. Labeling my other two sides A and B. My formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so I will have 14 squared plus 13 squared equals c squared. 14 squared is 196. 13 squared is 169. And when I add those together, I get 365. Once again, to get rid of or eliminate my exponent of 2, I must find the square root to get an answer of, rounded answer, 19.1 feet. Please take a moment and pause the video and try to complete numbers 3 and 4 on your own. When you are ready, press play and we will review the answers. All right, welcome back. On numbers 3 and 4, again, we have right triangles, so I never want to forget my formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. On number 3, I have my right angle, and across from that I have side C. So I notice that this question I am missing a leg rather than missing the hypotenuse. As I follow my formula, I have 3 squared plus B squared equals 8 squared. 3 squared is 9, plus my B squared equals 64. Now in this one, I'm going to have to subtract 9 instead of add. B squared equals 55. And when I find the square root of 55, my answer is 7.42, because in my calculator it says 7.416, so the 6 tells the 1 to go up, and I have 7.42 centimeters. On number 4, across from my right angle is side C, so I am again missing the hypotenuse. 50 squared plus 45 squared equals C squared. 50 squared is 2,500. 45 squared is 2,025. That equals C squared. When I add those together, I have 4,525. And finding the square root of that for my answer, C equals 67.27. And I don't want to forget my label of centimeters. Please pause the video and complete numbers 5 and 6. When you are ready, you may press play and we will continue on. All right, welcome back. We will not be going over the answers for 5 and 6. I will be checking those at a later time. So we are going to turn the page over and look at word problems. For number 1, a tree is leaning up against the side of a house. The bottom of the tree is 15 feet away from the house. The tree is 20 feet long. How tall is the house? When I have Pythagorean theorem word problems, I oftentimes want to draw a picture to help me visualize. So as I read the problem, I see the tree is leaning up against the house. So I'm going to start with a house. And it says the tree is leaning on the house. So that makes me think the tree is leaning like this, maybe as if it had fallen over. And here's the ground. It says the bottom of the tree, so the bottom right here, is 15 feet away from the house. So this distance on the bottom is 15. The tree itself is 20 feet long. So as I look at my picture here, I see my triangle looks like this. The bottom is 15. It looks like my hypotenuse is my 20. So I am missing a leg. So I'm going to set my problem up 15 squared plus b squared equals 20 squared. 15 squared is 225 plus b squared equals 400. Subtracting 225 from both sides. And I have b squared equals 175. Finding the square root of that to find the height of the house is 13.23 feet. As I continue on here, looking at number 2, a 20-foot flagpole is casting a shadow that is 12 feet long. How far is the top of the flagpole from the end of the shadow? So if I have a flagpole, draw a flag up here. The flagpole is 20 feet tall. It says the shadow is casting, so I'm going to draw a shadow of a flagpole like it would be coming down here. The shadow is 12 feet long. How far is the top of the flagpole to the end of my shadow? So I drew that as a dotted line. That would be my hypotenuse, which is also my missing side in this problem. So 12 squared plus 20 squared equals c squared. 144 plus 400 equals c squared. 544 equals c squared, meaning that from the top of my flagpole to the end of my shadow, when I find the square root, is 23.32 feet. All right, please take a moment, pause the video, and complete questions 3 and 4 by yourself. When you are ready to go over them, please press play and we will go over those questions. All right, welcome back. We have in number 3 a wheelchair ramp. So I know a wheelchair ramp is a diagonal piece that is helping somebody get up that cannot go upstairs. So the wheelchair ramp is 10 feet long. The ramp sits on a 2-foot platform, so that makes me think 2 feet tall. How far is it from the end of the ramp to the bottom of the platform? So I am missing a leg. Again, remembering my formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 2 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. 4 plus b squared equals 100. 100 minus 4, b squared equals 96. And finding the square root of that tells me that the length from the bottom of the platform to the end of the ramp is 9. Now as I round this, I see 9.797, which if I round, it will bring me up to 9.8 feet, and it has my label there for me. Number 4, 3 cities form a right triangle on a map. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a triangle. Cities B and C are the furthest apart. If cities A and B are 14 miles apart and A and C are 22 miles, how far apart are cities B and C? So B and C are going to be on opposite ends of my hypotenuse. A will be on the corner down here. It says in the problem that cities A and B are 14 miles apart, so the bottom or a leg is 14. A and C, the other leg, are 22 miles apart, so I am missing side C. 14 squared plus 22 squared equals C squared. 14 squared is 196. 22 squared is 484. Adding those together gives me 680 equals C squared. Finding the square root of that tells me that cities B and C are 26.08 miles apart when rounded properly. All right, please take some time, pause the video, and complete questions 5 and 6. Again, when you are ready to move on, press play, and we will move on to the 3-dimensional shapes. All right, welcome back. Let's get started on some 3-dimensional shapes here. Find the distance from point A to point C. Hint, find the distance from B to C first. So if I look here, it appears that point C and point A are diagonal from each other. So it appears as though I will probably be finding the hypotenuse of my right triangle. So as I look at that, I'm looking to find this distance here. So as I see this, I see B looks like it's down here on this side. The side here is 10, so I believe that I have all the information that I need to find that diagonal. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I look, and my right angle would be here in this corner, so I am trying to find side C. So I'm going to have 5 squared plus 10 squared equals C squared. 25 plus 100 equals C squared. 125 equals C squared. So it appears as though when I find the square root, the length of my dotted line in my figure is 11.18. And it does have that label there for me already, 11.18 centimeters. All right, please take a look at number 2. Pause your video and attempt this question, and when you are done, we will go over the answers. All right, welcome back. I see in this question, this is actually not a three-dimensional shape. It is not 3 dimensions. It is a flat shape, which means it is 2-dimensional. But I do see that it appears it gave me some extra information. If I need to find the diagonal line that it has here for me, I do not need the extra piece of this shape. I only need the 14, the 10, and the hypotenuse. So as I look at this, again, I'm thinking of my formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Noticing that I am once again missing side C. 14 squared plus 10 squared equals c squared. 14 squared is 196. 10 squared is 100. 296 equals c squared, and when I find the square root of that, I see that my missing side is 17.204, which rounds to just 0.2 feet in length. All right, please take some time and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own. When you finish with numbers 3 and 4, you can turn your paper into the homework tray. If you are still listening to this video, make sure your name is on the front of your paper, and underneath your name, please write my name, and there will be a prize waiting for you when I see your papers, and I will give that to you on Monday. But please do not tell any other students. Just write my name underneath your name. Have a wonderful day.